President Zelensky, as you know, comes from a background of being an actor and a comedian, but tonight finds himself in the most solemn of duties for any national leader to actually have to defend their country from an invasion from an imperialist power. So we're sort of seeing President Zelensky move from being more of a civilian president to more of a commander-in-chief kind of role. He's taking a major role in terms of coordinating the military operations taking place from the Ukrainian armed forces, also ensuring that civilians can get to where they need to in terms of shelters, and also fleeing to the west of the country. But we're also seeing him take a role in trying to boost the morale of the country. Of course, Ukraine is a much smaller country with a much smaller military. And so morale is so important in these kinds of conflicts to maintain. But he's also basically ensuring that they have the equipment that they need. He's engaging with Ukraine's NATO allies and with the United States, of course, as a head of that. But he's also called up reservists from anyone between the ages of 18 to 60, which I think, is quite a wide age range, which really indicates, the seriousness of this, that they think that they're actually going to need that many reservists to fight off the Russian forces. But he's also indicated that he is willing, willing to provide arms to any Ukrainian who is willing to fight Russian forces, which I really think, is quite indicative of actually how Ukraine expects this conflict might pan out. I think we might see happening is some kind of guerrilla insurgency from parts of the country that are under Russian occupation. And I think that's probably going to be part of the strategy to try to push out the armed forces of Russia through a kind of civilian-backed insurgency. Really, the signals we were hearing just 48 or 24 hours ago is the fact that the West was going to introduce phased sanctions that would be escalated up as Russian activity would escalate up. And of course, that was designed to deter Russian attacks. But ultimately, I don't think that sanctions, however strong, will really have any bearing upon Putin's policies in Ukraine. I think, Putin has a vision of what he's trying to do based on his view of himself in history, is trying to restore, the Russian Empire, not only from the kind of fallen Soviet era, but in fact from the imperial Russian era of the Tsars. And so I don't think that sanctions are going to have any kind of impact in terms of what Putin considers would have an effect on him. However, I do think, sanctions, the major area where it could have an impact is actually what happens inside Russia itself. We've already seen tonight protests across 53 Russian cities, about 1,500 protests, which is absolutely extraordinary and really quite unprecedented in recent Russian history to see this much anger. And I think, if you have the escalation of the war, if you have more Russian soldiers killed, if you have a deteriorating situation with the Russian economy and the plunging ruble, I think we could really see huge difficulties at home for Putin. I think that's really going to be the thing that hopefully will cause some kind of withdrawal from Russian forces.